Alright, so in this video I'll give you a quick tour, actually a detailed tour of the new project page design and the new design of task management system within the project as we're warming up to start the implementation. My goal is to make sure that I explain every sort of detail and every idea that is baked in the design so that we don't miss anything going forward, and that we're all well aligned on how it should look and feel and work. So let's start. Let's start with the project page in the storybooks. So as usual, we have a couple of scenarios here. Let's quickly go over a page which is, let's say, fully filled in. So in terms of layout, we are essentially reusing fundamentally the two-column layout that we introduced with goals. On top we have breadcrumbs, title, status derived from the latest check-in. We have tabs, and the first tab is called overview, and mostly this is what the current project page that we had for a long time in Operately contains. So there is the description, there are milestones, resources, aka links to things. There's the last check-in, basically looking the same as on the goal page. We have the parent goal, start date, due date, people who are working here, notifications block, and various actions. So let's look a bit more closely at some of these, particularly. Let's also see what the empty project page looks like. So, whoops, not this one. So unlike our current, as far as I know, pages, I've introduced this affordance where there is no label if the project description is empty, but you can just sort of click on this and start typing. And then when there is some content, then you see the title, the subtitle, and the button as usual. I personally still prefer this pattern over like static for things that are just pure text. We can see whether we propagate that to goals, or maybe we don't do this and we just follow what is currently on the goal page. The primary sort of call to action is to add your first milestone, which can be done either from here in line or from here. In both cases, basically, you get this little form. I've really made sure that the forms are tab key friendly, so if I press tab, I can sort of move back and forth. This would trigger the date select, and then if I click add more, I can add more, and it's gonna keep them ordered by most the one that comes the sooner. Ascending dates. Milestones need to be clickable. That's kind of, once there is a milestone here, like 99% of the time you want to click and go to it. So that's why editing is not in line, but it's sort of triggered by a button. And as you see, like there is this indicator of completeness that shows up as soon as you have one milestone. I did not sort of envision people managing milestones further on this page. So this is an overview, so you're not going to be able to complete it here. There are other screens where you can do this. Maybe all of these other are basically using the field components that we already developed pretty well elsewhere, I think. So for example, this is the goal field, this is the date field, this is the person field. Yeah, I think these are most important. If we go back to more fully featured project, on the milestone side, you see that there is a way to display the completed ones. There is this pretty clear indicator that there are some completed milestones, and you can click to expand. The resources bit looks a bit different. So this is something that is also managed without leaving this page. So there is a modal dialog that you can sort of trigger, and let's say this is the repo, it doesn't matter. And this is a special sort of new widget where it acts as a link. I hope you see it at the bottom of my browser. It acts as a link if you click on it. But if you hover over here, you have a menu where you can perform other actions. For example, you can edit it this way or delete. Okay. Next up, I think we can move on to tasks. You can see them straight from the project page as well. The components there are many sort of layered components, sort of like Russian dolls. But basically the idea is there is one view. Ignore this. Kanban does not exist yet. It will not in the first release. Milestones are sort of holders of tasks as they are right now, but they're presented in a list view. And there's a special section at the bottom called No Milestone. Let me see all this. And yeah, I'm thinking whether to demo here. So tasks are largely editable inline here. So for example, we don't exactly have to-dos, we have tasks because there are multiple statuses that they might have. So you change status by clicking on this icon on the left side, and let's say if you start working on something, you select that it's in progress. Once you're done, you select done, and then it moves to the list of done tasks. The completion pie chart updates, and you move on. Everything is sort of can be dragged and dropped, reordered. Tasks can be moved from one milestone to another. Okay, let's not get there yet. One little detail that is different from when I was designing this, the date field here shows the year, even if it's the current year. This is not necessary. I hope that it's just a property or an option to pass over. Let me show you exactly where this is further in the in the storybooks. So there's there's a directory called taskboard. The default story shows basically what's on the project page. The smallest component is called task item. So it's literally this like rectangle with the task title, the status, potentially due date, and assignee. So you can manage the essentials of the tasks straight from here without opening any new page or dialog. Yeah, there are various other small stories here. Task items are basically grouped in task lists, and a task list is something that a milestone card is sort of contains as a group. There's a component that's sort of derived from the general modal dialog, which is the task creation model. Maybe we can go to milestone card. So again, this is, you can sort of hit tab and move through. If I hit space, I activate the widget. They get added to the list. By default, of course, they are in not started status. In the future, let's say one of the obviously first things that we will do in future iterations of the tasks and projects is Kanban view. In Kanban, the statuses will be the columns, and I'm pretty sure that it's only a matter of time when people will ask us to be able to define whether it's per project or space or whatever, but let's say per project, their own custom statuses. When obviously it makes a lot of sense. Like not everything is there are especially things, for example, in other like non-developer areas like marketing or sales or account management, when you really need expressions that match the phases of work much better. So I think we should foresee the possibility to create additional and custom statuses. Yeah, even status selector is a component on its own. What's this? Oh, so this is a field. Actually, this should probably be moved to the fields directory. Okay, let's take a look at the task page. No, maybe. Okay, let's look at a task. So a task is something that if you are on a project page and you click on a task, like what we always imagined is you would have the slide in view from the right sort of pop out and show you the content. It can just go to another page, I guess, in the very first iteration. The structure is, I guess, straightforward. So there is a title. Do I have a story? Yeah, I have a story in project context. So I know Igor was asking for this. How would it look if opened as a page within a project? So yeah, this is the current solution. Title, status, which you can change here. Notes. Then goes the sort of comments and activity feed mixed together. Due date, assignee, milestone. In the sidebar, who created it, notification stuff. I ended up creating like a new look for these activities, and for comments, this does look different compared to our, let's say, current design. We can discuss which way to go. I felt like we needed, especially for activity items, something that's more subtle. That, let's say, if you have a comment and then you have some activities, that does not carry the same weight exactly, and it sort of fits this white page sort of canvas. There are repercussions, of course. If we do this like this here, then it would need to be propagated in a few more places. Another page is the milestone page. So let's say if you are on the project and you click on the product launch and you wanna write a description, or you wanna discuss it, or you just wanna zoom in and focus only on tasks in that milestone, you go to the milestone. You would open the milestone page. Again, looks very similar to the others. Let's say in project context. Yeah, again, title. I think this should not be here. Or actually should, I don't know. We have this, so this is redundant. Probably a leftover. Yeah. Optional description. Basically a milestone card. Comments and feed kind of like an audit log of this resource. We haven't seen filters yet, so that's also pretty important one. For example, if a milestone is completed, we should no longer display the due date as in red, I think. One of the little details. Okay, filters. Let's say if we can say, show me what's in progress, but also what is not in progress. What's in progress, but okay, whatever. But these can be the important thing is these can be chained. It's special sort of component where you have this condition drop down in the middle. Very dynamic. So for milestones, it behaves like this. So for things where the list is fixed, you get it directly through here. Let's say email. So it's just search by text, basically. I have not implemented the date-based filters. Once we get there, we'll talk about how exactly they should behave, but nothing particularly. It's not rocket science. Yeah, main piece of work was in the design phase, basically to figure out how this looks and behaves. So there are different sort of types of things. So sometimes it's Boolean, sometimes it's okay, something else like it contains or does not contain. And yeah, pretty simple, pretty powerful, I think. Once you have a filter, there are no more so you see, like by default it collapses the completed task. Once you have at least one filter, the idea is, you know, that goes away and everything is either displayed or hidden. So for example, this is a done task by this person. I haven't worked on these tabs. They basically will look pretty much like they do on the goal page, so I didn't think that was necessary. And that's it for my first overview of the project page and new tasks.